Today we will see an example based on the critical path method. The question is asked like this. Activity, duration and immediate predecessor are given to us, and it can be asked that draw a network diagram, then show the critical path on the network, then calculate all the activity times such as EST, EFT, LST and LFT, and calculate all the types of floats. Firstly, we'll draw the network diagram. For that, starting with the node 1 and showing the activity A. Then this will be our node 2. Now as we can see, firstly we'll see the immediate predecessor as A. Then for the activities D, E and F, the immediate predecessor is A. That is, we need 3 arrows coming out from the activity A. Now let's see how we'll create these arrows. We can create it like this, D, E and F. But then what will happen is that as we can see here, the immediate predecessor of G is F and I. And the immediate predecessor of H is E and J. So here, let me just show you that from D, that is D is the immediate predecessor of I and J. So will I be able to connect F and I if I draw my arrows for D, E, F like this? Then no, I won't be able to connect it. So now we'll take out 3 arrows from A, but in a way that we can connect F and I. So I'm giving the middle arrow as my activity D, then the down arrow as activity E, and the upward arrow as activity F. Then here I'll give the node 3, and here I'm giving the node 4, and for E it will be node 5. Then next we'll see that the immediate predecessor, which is D, is for the activities I and J. That is, we'll take out 2 arrows from the activity D, that is the node 3. So I'm connecting this upwards as I, because we know that F and I are the immediate predecessor of the activity G. And here I'm writing this as J, because we know that E, J are the immediate predecessor of activity H. Then our next step will be to draw an arrow showing the activity H. And now we'll show the activity G. For that we'll take out the arrow from the node 4. Now as we can see that activity C has its immediate predecessor as H, I and F. So firstly we'll draw a dummy activity and connect it with the node 6. So this is at node 6, H, I and F have been connected, and then we can show the arrow for activity C. Now I'll just erase this arrow for activity G and connect it with the same node as that for activity C. Then we'll connect the node 5 with this node 7 using a dummy activity. The reason for using this dummy activity is that we need CGJE as the immediate predecessor of activity B. So that is why we have used this dummy arrow, dummy activity. Now I'll just write all the durations. Which have been given in the question. Now we'll find the earliest occurrence time and the latest occurrence times. We can show the earliest occurrence time as even is equal to, or we can even write it in a rectangle. Like for the first node, our even will be equal to 0. Then E2 will be equal to 0 plus 3. What is this 3? That is the duration of the activity A. Now we'll see for the arrow 2, 3. So it will be our E3 and it will be equal to 3 plus 2, which is 3 is the earliest occurrence time at our node 2 and 2 is the duration of the activity D. Next we'll find for the node 4. As we can see here that 2 arrows are being connected. So we'll take the larger value for E4, which is either we can take as 3 plus 3, that is 3 is E2 and the duration of F is 3, so we'll take it as 3 plus 3, or we'll take it as 5 plus 3, which is E3 is 5 and the duration of I is 3. So we'll take the larger one, that is 8. Then for the next node, which is E5, again 2 arrows are connected. So we'll consider the same way, that the larger of either 3 plus 5 or it will be 5 plus 9. Then the larger one will be 14. So we'll take that value. Next for E6, again 2 arrows are connected. So one is E4 plus dummy activity will have no resources, so it will be 8 plus 0, and the another one is 14 plus 8. So we'll take the larger one, which is 14 plus 8, that is 22. Then for E7 it will be 22 plus 6 or 8 plus 9, or it can be even 14 plus 0. So we get it as 28, which is the larger one, and then 28 plus 4, which is 32. So our E8 is 32. Now we'll find the latest occurrence time. For this you will have to start from the last node, and L8 will be same as E8, so it will be 32. Now we'll just subtract the duration, that is 32 minus 4. So it will be 28. Then for L6 we'll see L6 will be 28 minus 6. So it will be 22. Now for L5 there are 2 arrows. So this time we'll take the smaller value, that is we'll take it as the smaller of our L6 is 22. For E we took the larger of, and here we'll take the smaller of. We are finding for L5, so it will be either 22 minus 8 or it will be E7 minus 0, that is 28 minus 0. So this is the smaller value, hence L5 will be 14. Now we'll find our L4. Again 2 arrows are there, so we'll take the smaller of L7 minus 9, that is 28 minus 9, or we'll take 22 minus 0. Then obviously our smaller value will be the first one. So our L4 is 19. Now we'll find our L3. For L3 also we are having 2 arrows, so the procedure remains the same, that is 19 minus 3 or 14 minus 9, and then we take the smaller value. So this will be our smaller value, hence L3 is 5. And now our L2 will find that we are having 3 arrows. So now it will be either 19 minus 3 or 5 minus 2 or 14 minus 5. Let me just write that. So as we can see that this is our smaller value, so our L2 will be 3. Then L1 will be 3 minus 3, which is 0. And if this L1 does not come as 0, then it means that you have made some mistake. So again you will have to check it. Now we'll check where the E and L values are same. So as we can see, for the node 1 and node 2 we have E and L values same. I'm showing it by double arrow. Then for the node 2 and node 3 also the E and L values are same. Then for the node 3 and node 5 also the L and E values are same. Wherever the E and L values are same, connect that using a double arrow. Then node 5 and node 6. And now we are having node 6 and node 7 where the E and L values are same. And then finally node 7 and node 8. So the path that is showing, that we have shown with double arrows, is our critical path. That is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is our critical path. And here the completion period of the project will be 32 days. That is the value which we have obtained at the last node. Now the next thing which we'll do is we'll find earliest start time, which is EI. Then the latest start time, which is denoted as LI. And then earliest finish time, that is EJ. And the latest finish time, which is LJ. So for EI, just see the activity and write the E value of its tail event. And you can even write the arrow number on the side of the activity. That is, here for A, arrow is 1, 2. For B, arrow is 7, 8. Likewise. Here our EI will be the tail event and LJ will be the head event. That is, for the activity A, our tail event is 1. So we'll write EST as 0. Then for the activity B, we'll see the node 7, which is our tail event for the activity B. So I have written it as 28. Then for the activity C, we'll see the node 6, which is 22. Then for the activity 5, the activity D, we'll see its tail event, which is node 2, and it is 3. Same way for E, F, G, H, I, and J. We'll see the tail event for all the activities. So we have got for F as EST as 3, then for G it is 8, H it is 14, I is 5, and J is also 5. Then next we'll write LJ, which is for the activity A, it will be the head event, that is the value of L at the node 2, which here is 3. Then for the activity B, we'll see the node 8, which I have written as 32, because my L8 is 32. Now for the activity C, we'll see the L7, so it is 28. Same way for each activity, we'll see the head event. Then for D it is 5, for E it is 14, F it is 19, then for G again the node 7, so it will be same 28. Then for H it is 22, that is our L6. For I it will be 19, and for J it will be 14. Then we'll find our EJ, earliest finish time. So our EJ will be simply EI plus TIJ, that is EI we have already found and TIJ is our duration. So we'll just add these two values, that is 0 plus 3, then 28 plus 4, then 22 plus 6, which is 28. Then it will be 5, 8, 6, 17, 22, 8 and 14. Then we'll find Li, which is our latest start time, and Li will be equal to Lj minus Tij. So the column of Lj minus duration, that is 3 minus 3, it will be 0. Then 32 minus 4, that is 28. Then 28 minus 6, which is 22. Then 5 minus 2, which is 3. Then 14 minus 5, Then we get as 16, 19. Here it will be 22 minus 8. So get it as 14. Then 19 minus 3. So it will be 16. And 14 minus 9. So this will be 5. Then next we'll find the total float. Then the free float, and finally the interfering float. Here for the total float, we can either use LST minus EST or LFT minus EFT. So we'll just use this LST minus EST and find the total float. I'm just subtracting the column LST and EST. So we've got the total float. Now to find the free float, you will need to create one more column. That is, you will find the slake of head event. And I would suggest that create two columns, one for the slake of head event and the another for the slake of tail event. I'll show you how to find this. The slake of head event you will find by subtracting E and L at the head event. And for finding, that is for activity A, your head event will be node 2, and for activity A, your tail event will be node 1. So that is how, by taking the difference of E and L at node 1, you can find the slake of tail event. Let's see how we'll find the slake of head event. Then for the activity A, we'll take the difference at the head event. That is for A, it is node 2. So it will be 3 minus 3. Then for B, it will be 32 minus 32. Then for C, it will be 28 minus 28. For D, it will be 5 minus 5. Then for E, it will be 14 minus 14. For F, it will be 19 minus 8. And for G, it will be 28 minus 28. Then for H, it will be 22 minus 22. Then for I, it is 5 minus 5. And for J, it is 14 minus 14. And you can create one more column where you'll find the slake of tail event. That is, I have already told you, take the difference of E and L at the tail event. That is, for activity A, tail event is node 1. For B, it will be node 7. This is how you will find. Now we need the free float, which is the total float minus the slake of head event. That is the column of total float minus the column of slake of head event. Just subtract for each of the activity to get the free float. Now I'll find the interfering float, which is simple total float minus free float. So just subtract the values of the slake of head event from the total float and you will get the values of the interfering float. And if in question it is asked to find the independent float, then you can simply use this formula, free float minus slake of tail event. So this is how we can create the network diagram, find EST, EFT, LST, LFT, total float, free float, interfering float, and also I told you the formula that you can use to find the independent float.